Okay, guys, let's take a peek at this 80 in Minnesota. Start off with a wide-angle topographic view. As you can see, there's not a ton of topography in the area, which if the neighbors have topography and we don't, that can be a big concern because they're going to house a lot of the deer. But we have a little bit of roll, same as the general neighborhood, so we're okay there. So we don't have to worry about topography so much. Now, the good thing about not having a lot of topography is it's very easy to dictate where the deer bed if we want to make that happen. It's easier to figure out where the deer travel to prey upon those lines of movement, but it's harder to have mature age classes of deer in areas without the topography because they don't have it to work with, and it's easier for a weekend guy to just come up and pick a random spot to hunt and get a crack at some of the older deer in the neighborhood. So when the DNR wants to eliminate deer in an area that's got a lot of flat turf, it's a lot easier for the neighborhood to get that done than it is for a very, very hilly area. But that aside, when you don't live someplace that's with a lot of hills and you want something close by, this is what you have to deal with. Now, some really good things about this 80. Access. We have access from this road over here. We have access from this road over here. And it'd be very easy to screen some kind of access so we can come up this west line as well. I'm guessing this area over here, because you have a house here and a house here, we're not going to have a lot of daylight deer activity over here. Makes it pretty easy for us to be able to go up this line. So that's rare to be able to have access on three sides. What we also have is we have a lot of dead space around your property. What I mean by that, when I say dead space, I'm saying deer don't like to be in these open areas during daylight. So this area, this area, this area, this area, this area, all around your property, we have dead space all around your property, which means the only way that deer get on and off your property is by doing that. They have a line of movement here. Let me change this. You got a line of movement that come through here. Okay, what's going on? Shape up here, buddy. Line of movement here, here, on and off your property. They want to stay in this contiguous cover. And you can see almost all of the traffic we have, because of the dead areas around us, are going to go through there. So if these neighbors aren't messing up deer activity, and these neighbors aren't messing up deer activity, that's a big deal for us. We can hunt that flow. We don't want to disturb that flow. We can access that flow from here. We can access it from here. We can access it from here. And we can access it from here. So we can really capitalize on the flow of that deer. Further, when you look when I back this out, look at the lighter areas here. These lighter areas down here, 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 those are your predominant row crop areas. Those lighter areas at this time of year in this picture is our predominant row crop area. So when we look to the north, we got a lot of pasture and hayfield. The deer will go up there. They'll chew on stuff at night, especially if the farmer takes care of the field. But the real draw for them is going to be these light-colored fields. So almost all of our primary deer movement, we're going to assume, in this area, is going to be north to south, bed to feed, and south to north, feed to bed. So we know what those deer are doing, okay? And we can capitalize on that, which is a big deal. So it's nice to know that flow, which makes it very easy for us based upon, it makes it easy for us to decide where we would put food on this property. For me, I'm going to put food right here. I'm going to put food right here, okay? If I wanted to, I could squeeze a little bit up here. I move it in a little bit from there. But what I'm trying to do is capitalize on these deer's natural tendencies, their natural bed to feed and feed to bed tendencies. And that's what food plots in these areas do. I have now my plan. I can access from all these purple areas. I can come and access these green areas to hunt. And I can capitalize on the deer that live up here, that live in here, live down here. That flow down to these properties, I'm now a part of those deer's day. I'm not trying to make the deer something they don't want to do, and it's very easy to figure out on this property how we can be a part of this deer's day without messing them up. Okay. Also very easy, like I said earlier, to dictate bedding on this property. We have tried and true ways where we can create deer bedding on this property, especially in these mature pines. Super easy to do, but very easy for me to put some deer bedding in the center of this property where I'm not accessing from to be able to bed those deer. Very easy for you to have consistent deer activity on these plots every night because you're not going to mess them up. We put a ground blind here for this spot, right? Wind's blowing out to this field. Ground blind here for this spot. Wind's blowing out to this field. We put a ground blind over here for this spot. Wind blowing out to the west. We always got the wind blowing somewhere where there's not deer, so it's very easy for us to do. And then what will happen for us during the rut is that we can create orderly lines of movement because we know where those does are at. So now during the rut, I can jump in here, and with a south wind, I can hunt this line of movement, okay? With a north wind, I can hunt this line of movement. I can put my tree stands there, hunt those deer, and we still have areas where we can blow our scent to. I can blow my scent across the swamp here. I can blow my scent over towards the neighbors here. These are tougher to hunt. I would blow my scent across this food plot on this one during the rut. And I would probably, what else could we do? What else could we do? Anyhow, you get the idea. Bed those deer there. Leave them alone because we're accessing around the outside and pooching in these stands. Little access, human activity, barely off the road, screened activity, blowing our wind this way. Good shape. So really the only limiting factor on a property like this is what's the deer hunting like in the neighborhood. If the deer in the neighborhood, if the numbers are good enough for you and the size of the bucks are good enough for you, this is a very easy property to lay out, to use the tools. It will hunt this way, the best in the neighborhood. Your access is far above average. The ability to place deer in areas like this is very easy. We know the deer flow north to south, south to north, bed to feed. So all the pieces come together very easy on this property. Again, the only limiting factor for you is, does this neighborhood have the quantity and the quality of the deer you want? Because if it does, that's what makes or breaks an area like this. Typically what that means is, if you get lucky, these people up here don't hunt. And that would be just huge. You'd be hunting all those deer and all of your deer on the bottom side of this property as you go to these ag fields. So that's, in a nutshell, what you're looking at. It's an easy property to lay out. It's an easy property to plan for. You have to be satisfied with the deer in the neighborhood, and you're in good shape. Good luck.